Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shravanam is enough to get rid of Atma Ajnanam, self-ignorance. Shravanam is all that is needed. Why? Because of the whole discussion that we had about the Vedanta included in the Veda being a means of knowledge. The Veda is a means of knowledge. Vedanta Upanishad is a means of knowledge for that which you cannot arrive at by yourself. And so, when the means of knowledge are aligned with that which, the object of knowledge and the subject of knowledge, knowledge has to take place. If I hold, for example, this pot, this cup in front of you and say, please do not look at this cup, you are not able to oblige me no matter how much Shraddha you may have. If I say, please don't look at this cup, look at everything else, but do not look at this cup, you are unable to oblige. You are not able to do that, because that is what we mean by saying knowledge happens. Knowledge takes place. There is no will involved in knowing. In knowing something, there is no will involved. Yes, maybe just the basic will of keeping the eyes open. If the eyes are open, then the knowledge of anything that has form and color has to take place. That is how it works. That is exactly how it works. This is a law. You cannot make it any other way. Knowledge has to take place. And so too with Atma Vidya, the means of knowledge, the Upanishad is there, and the mumukshu, the seeker, a person very interested in losing samsara and gaining freedom is there, then that alignment produces the knowledge, so to speak. Why? Because knowledge is as true as the object, not how you feel about it. This is a fact. For example, if I show you this cup pot again, if I hold it like this, it is pot. Like this, it is cup. Okay, yeah. So if I show you this pot again and say, look at this wonderful mango I have in my hand. First you will wonder, did I hear it right? And then just for good measure I say it again. This is a wonderful, fragrant, off-season Indian mango that I have in my hand. Too bad I can't share it with you because agricultural exports are not allowed. If I were to say this while showing this all the time, you will come to naturally to the conclusion, up till now she was okay, something is wrong today. Yeah, towards the end of the series, she's losing it somehow. That is what you will do. That is what you will have to conclude. There is no other conclusion possible. So that this illustrates the fact that knowledge is as true as the object. I may want the mango. I may want it to be a mango. I can even pray to Bhagavan, please, I'll close my eyes tight and pray, make it a mango, make it a mango, make it a mango. Still pot. Still pot. Why? Because the knowledge of, the knowledge of any vastu, anything, is true to that thing. It is true to that thing. It is not, it is not just something that you feel like it. I think it's a lovely little pig, pot-bellied pig, and then it doesn't become a pot-bellied pig just because you want it to be. That is why, you cannot mess with knowledge. It's not about how you feel. And therefore it is safe to say that Shravanam, the exposure to the knowledge will definitely make the knowledge take place. Not because of you, in spite of you. In spite of you, you become an Atmajnani if the knower and the known are aligned with the means of knowledge, Shabda Pramana, in the form of the words of the Upanishad, handled by the teacher. It's a package deal, okay? It's like you go somewhere, and of course, because of the pandemic, we have forgotten what it is like to go somewhere on a holiday. But let's say you go on a holiday, and then you take a tour, a bus tour, and then you get into the bus, and then the tour operator, the one who has a microphone sitting in the front and showing you what's on the left side and what's on the right side, comes for free. Okay? That is what it is. That is what the teacher is. The teacher is just a person who has been through the sights and sounds before and takes you on this journey, the very journey that they themselves were on. This is Sravanam. Sravanam is Mukhya Sadhanam. Mukhya Sadhanam means the primary means to gain this knowledge. After the Sravanam, one can say, I know this. Not after taking one class, okay? After a certain amount of committed exposure, one can say, yes, I'm enjoying the benefits of Atma Jnanam, self-knowledge, and it is just wonderful. One can say that. And then one can, be fine with that. In fact, the students in the Upanishad, in the stories of the Upanishads, are all what are called Uttama Adhikari, highly qualified jivas. And you see Nachiketa, 7 or 8 years old, and gained the knowledge from Lord Yama, and then went on his way. You see Shvetaketu in the Chandogya Upanishad, he needed only 9 satsangs, because 8 times he asked, please teach me this again, please teach me this again. And so he needed only 9 satsangs to gain this knowledge. And then he too was enlightened and went on his way. So these kinds of students are what should I say, archetypes. They are found in the pages of the Upanishad to give us all some hope and some clarity. Oh, this knowledge is possible. So this is on one end of the continuum. A fully ripe student, ripe for the knowledge, has lots of Shraddha, lots of Titiksha, and Uparama check, Shama check, Dhamma check, everything. Titiksha check. I have lot of Titiksha. I have Mumukshutvam, Viveka, Vairagya are my middle and last names. And then, I have Samadhanam, I have everything. Very few people are like that. That is why those students are called highly exalted adhikaris, highly qualified students that you will find in the pages of the Upanishad to give us hope. On the other end of the continuum, we have adhama adhikari. Adhama means really bad adhikaris. If they don't go to sleep, they are argumentative, and if they are not argumentative, they are tamasic, and like this, they are not internally prepared. No yoga, only bhoga. What else will happen? Bhoga means conspicuous consumption. Okay, yeah. So then this is all it is. It's a life of bhoga. No discipline, no inner quietude, no meditation. Pranayama, how do you spell that? And why should I do that? This is on the other end of the continuum. And they too are somewhere in the pages of negative examples. In the Puranas and such, you will get these kinds of tamasic students. But most of the humanity falls somewhere in the middle. Madhyama adhikaris. And so then what happens? Shravanam takes place. So, one listens to the teaching, and then one has a series of aha moments. Aha, yes, I got it. I think I got it. And then after that, what? Then after the satsang is over, and after the program is wrapped up, then one, it doesn't take long for the person to go back to their own ways, how it was before the knowledge. And how was it before the knowledge? Not very nice. So it seems like a regression. It's not a regression. There are just things that have come in the way that need to be dismissed, that need to be completely put out, stamped out. And so, what is the problem? The problem is not that they don't know. They have been taught, they know. Yet, there are certain doubts. As I told you, this is not a belief-based tradition. Tattvamasi, yes, I believe you. This is not based on belief. And it has something to be understood. It's a knowledge about you, the self-loathing, self-critical, self-judgmental you that you want to change, and that you're striving against time to try to change. And here comes a body of knowledge, a profoundly soothing philosophy that says there's nothing to do, nowhere to go, nothing to change. You are what you seek. You are eminently lovable, acceptable, just as you are. This is a very big thing. And so, but still there are doubts. And if there are doubts, and I say if because there need not be doubts if there is complete Shraddha, but if there are doubts, it doesn't mean that the Sravanam has not worked. Sravanam has worked, yet the knowledge is inhibited in certain ways by certain doubts. The knowledge is fraught with doubt, vagueness, and perhaps error. In that instance, Mananam, the next thing, is advised. Atmava are mantavyaha. One needs to meditate. One needs to think. One needs to inquire into the Atma. What does this inquiry look like? This is a refreshing change from obsessing about who is my friend and who is my enemy and what will I have for lunch tomorrow and all these, kind of a mundane life that one tends to lead. Instead, some lofty subjects such as the I, such as Bhagavan, such as the Jagat, and the relationship between the three are thought about. You use your own logic, a logic that is in keeping with the Shruti's vision, not a logic that goes against the vision of the Shruti. And so you use a logic, and then what do? You just get some of those doubts addressed. Some doubts are addressed in time. You kind of sit and think about these things, meditate upon these things, dwell upon these questions, and the answer comes. Suddenly it comes. Or you discuss it with few other people who attended the program. And then each one, they may have something that you haven't seen, and you have something that to contribute that they haven't yet seen. And then that way some of the questions are answered. Or you ask the teacher some questions. How come this is, based on your own doubts, you ask certain questions. Now, the Shastra is very helpful. The teaching itself has divided the doubts into twofold. You don't even have to wonder what kind of doubt you have, because that is also taken care of. So, there are two kinds of doubts, generally speaking. The first doubt is called Pramanagata Samshaya. Doubts that are centered on the teaching being a means of knowledge. Why only Vedanta? Why can't I study something else? And why do I have to study? Why can't I intuit that I am the whole? Why do I have to do this? And why Vedanta? Why this Pramana? So the Pramana, what is Pramana is not understood. And so that is where the doubts can be. These kinds of questions. Why this, why that, and all these things. These kinds of questions come under Pramanagata Samshayaha. Doubts centered on what is a means of knowledge, why do I need a new means of knowledge, aren't these means of knowledge which I have enough, and if they are not enough, why are they not enough? And also, what is the guarantee that exposing myself to this means of knowledge will give me what I want? And what is the connection between the means of knowledge and what it reveals? All these kinds of doubt, they come from a certain inhibition. Inhibition. And then they come from certain inhibitions, and then that is, what kind of inhibitions? The Sravanam has worked, but it is eclipsed by these doubts. So the doubts are loosened up. And you go back and look at your notes. These days no one takes notes, very few I should say, and so you go back and listen to the program, or more commonly you wait for the next program. Okay, some other Swami will come, and then perhaps some light will be shed, and it often happens like this. Okay, so the next program that is going to be there, perhaps we'll talk to this, and then we'll speak and expand on this, which is really wonderful. So then, Atmava are mantavyaha. So this Mananam, we have to be very clear, is not producing the knowledge. There is nothing to produce, because this knowledge is not a product, it is already you. It's not giving rise to the knowledge. This meditation, this inquiry is not giving rise to the knowledge. What is it doing? It is dissipating a knowledge that is sitting in your heart riddled with doubts. It is dissipating the doubts which have come along with the knowledge for free. So it is getting rid of doubts so you can enjoy the knowledge fully. That is what it is, not producing the knowledge. Otherwise, one will think that there is an option. Either I do Sravanam, or I do Mananam, or I do Nididhyasanam. And then it gives rise to the wrong understanding that Sravanam hasn't worked, and therefore I need Mananam. No, Sravanam always works. There is no way it cannot work. How do you say? Just think of that example of me holding this and saying, please don't look at whatever this is. Not possible. So when the means of knowledge are aligned with the potential knower, then knowledge has to take place. Means of knowledge, knower and known. This is what is called the triad. Pramata, knower; prameya, known; and then pramana, means of knowledge. So these kinds of doubts are called pramanagata shanka. And for that, there are two ways. One is to go back and put yourself on a diet of Sravanam. It's like taking antibiotics, okay? And then the doctor says, take it for 3 days. Some infection is there. And take it for 3 days. And then the person takes it for 3 days. And then after that, you go for a checkup again. And the doctor says, no, I think 3 more days are advised. 4 more days. Take it for a week. This is exactly what it is. You put yourself back on the, what should I say, antibiotic that gets rid of the bacteria of samsara. What is the name of the bacteria of samsara? Yeah, how they, samsareria, something like that. They will have all these Latin names. Yeah. So, and so like this. So if you want to get rid of samsaritis, where everything is inflamed, then you go on the antibiotic, the antidote to samsara, called Sravanam. And then Sravanam, of course, has worked. The bacteria, samsaritis, has reduced quite a bit. And how to tell if it has reduced? Very easy. Very easy. I'll give you a a 3-point, what should I say, a ready reckoner to find out, to measure the level of samsaritis in your life at any given moment. But that will have to wait till later, because I'm on a train of thought and I don't want to get derailed. So this is, how do this samsaritis, how come it has come back? It hasn't come back. It hadn't fully gone. Why? Because there were certain things in play which stopped the antibiotic from working. Perhaps you were, just in the antibiotic example, sometimes you take it at the wrong time. And they say don't take the antibiotic with milk products, because that is something which is not, it reduces the efficacy of the antibiotic. And so similarly here, same thing. So, you're doing Sravanam, along with some popcorn, it reduces the efficacy of the Shravanam. Because, it's all on Zoom now, it's on a screen. And when you see the screen, you feel like eating something. This is what has happened during the pandemic. Everyone has become big, literally, I mean. And this is why the Shravanam might not work, because there are certain distractions, etc., etc. Or it has worked, but there are certain latent doubts that are inhibiting the phala, the fruits of Shravanam, from being enjoyed. Therefore, Mananam. And so one way is to go back to Shravanam and allow those questions to be answered. Take a re-look at the Upanishad. And another way, as we discussed earlier, is to talk to people, talk to the teacher, and get the doubts cleared. So then there is another kind of doubt, prameya gata shanka. And that prameya gata shanka means doubt. Doubt centered on the prameya. Prameya means that which is to be known, i.e. Brahman, yourself as Brahman. And so what does prameya gata shanka look like? How can I, this small little sad, mad, bad jiva, be the whole? How can I be Brahman? You must be talking to somebody behind me. I can't be Brahman. How can I be Brahman? This is what is called a doubt centered on that which is to be known. How can Atma, I, be Brahman? Not possible. And then, well, okay, I can understand that I am Brahman, but how do I experience it? Asks who? The one who is experiencing Brahman asks that. I know I am the whole, but how to experience it? Whatever you are, you are in the form of the ever experienced self. That is what you are. You are Satchidananda. And that Satchidananda upholds all experiences, including that of bursting into tears. Satchidananda upholds the tears, broadcasts the tears and the fears without getting afflicted in the process. So you are that which experiences everything. And you experience yourself all the time. There is not a minute, a second, a nanosecond where you don't experience yourself. But still the question, but yeah, I know that. This is, Vedanta is all theory. People come and tell me this. How to practice Vedanta? Can you please give a few talks on Vedanta in day-to-day life? Vedanta in everyday life? Vedanta in daily life? What we are teaching is Vedanta in daily life, okay? It's not that I am teaching Vedanta once a year, annually. No. Every day, the same Atma, A for Atma, B for Brahman, C for Chit, D for Dharma, the same thing is being unfolded on a daily basis in a way that unfolds the I, that gives you an understanding of the I which is so intimate to you. And so how can you say it is theory? You are not a theory. It's not a concept, because you are not a concept. You are the only thing that is existent. And you lend that existence, your presence and your sentience, to all the things in the universe that have name and form. And who are you? You are one with the cause of the universe. There is only one consciousness, which is Brahman, which is you. Yeah, I know that, but how to experience? This is called Prameya Gata Shanka. And for Prameya Gata Shanka, again, going back to Sravanam and taking discussing it with Shraddha, of course, discussing it, talking about it to people, getting the questions answered from the teacher. All these things are the resolution. These are the resolutions. And then with Shravanam, with a Shravanam that is backed by Mananam, and if it is needed, if it is not needed, no need. But if the knowledge is, denying you the joy that you are, and if, Mananam is needed, then the Shravanam come Mananam reduces samsaritis considerably. How do you know? As I said, as I promised, I will give you a few tips on how to understand. This samsaritis is setting on me. It is no longer active. So, think about some of the core issues that one has in the universe. Living in the universe, one is aware that there are certain core issues. It could be things that bring about anger, bring about sorrow, some basic core issues that are unique to you. And think about how, before exposure to Vedanta, then when these core issues were re-stimulated, badly triggered, then what would happen? One would fall apart at the seams, and one would go under the covers, perhaps, not feel like coming out for days at end. So the intensity of the samsara attack would be there, in the sense of one is out of commission for a week because it is so intense, and then one recovers after a week because nature is very forgiving, and one forgets and then recovers somehow. One is resilient, Atma is very resilient, so one recovers, only to be attacked by samsaritis or triggered by the core issues in the second week. Down with another recurring attack of samsaritis. Okay, this is the situation. So the intensity, and this time one is out for 2 weeks. Because why 2 weeks? Because last 1 week plus the hopelessness accounts for the next week. One is out of commission, one is non-functional practically, even though one may be going through the motions of getting up and doing things. So there is, 3 aspects to this. How, what is the intensity of the samsaritis? How frequently am I attacked? Number 2, the frequency of the samsaritis attacks. And number 3, the recovery time needed to come out of one attack. This becomes the parameter of one's emotional growth. And the more satsangs like this you listen to, and the more exposure you have to Vedanta, you will find that, the episodes, first of all, the episodes of samsaritis are shorter. Why? Because you have taken the vaccine of Vedanta. That's why. You've taken the vaccine of Vedanta, and so even if you get the attack, it is shorter. You don't need extra care, and you come out of it. It is not as intense. You are inoculated by the vaccine called Upanishad. Upanishad inoculates you against samsara. This is exactly how it works. And then what? Then you may fall. You may fall because it's human nature is fallible. Some secret part of the unconscious may attack and bring something, scare you. But then you have the Upanishads to protect, and that fear is not so intense. Number one. Number two, you find that the frequency of the attack of samsaritis from attack number one to attack number two, the gap is longer and longer and longer and longer. Before, you had to pick yourself up practically every day, and now it is you forgot when the last samsaritis attack took place. You yourself don't remember. Yes, occasionally one may be blindsided still, but it's still the frequency is less. And then what? And the last parameter to understand or to gauge one's self-growth as a result of exposure to Vedanta, taught in a proper way. The last parameter is the intensity, the frequency, and the recovery time. The recovery time after being triggered by samsara, one's own raga, dveshas, and triggered by other people, which is really your own, one's own issues. Other people just become what is called nimitta. They just become a excuse because there was already something brewing. Otherwise, why would you be triggered? So then the recovery time is very little. The recovery time reduces, the intensity reduces, the frequency of the attacks called samsaritis also reduces. That's how you are on a committed path of self-growth. That is how you know. And then people at home will tell you, because those people at home are the best judge of your self-growth. Okay, yeah. And then they will tell you, please go attend a Gita class. Please do that more. Please attend some more satsangs. And they will encourage you. And even if they were resistant in the beginning because they thought you were ignoring them, but now they see the benefit. They have a very calm, composed and wonderful you, thanks to Sravanam, thanks to Mananam. But what about Nididhyasanam? First of all, how do I pronounce it? What is the spelling? And what does it do? And when should I do this Nididhyasanam? That we will see in the last session later on. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.